Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Success Mentorship class number 425. Wow, that's amazing, folks. And we couldn't do it without you. Welcome those on Instagram, Eric and Lundy and my Tramel, all of those on Instagram. Welcome those on YouTube. And of course, we have our mastermind group, our super achievers right here on Zoom, live and for real. This is Dr. Herbert Harris, and this is Success Mentorship class number 425. And our topic for today is developing your higher powers. I want to welcome you to our program. We're here every Saturday morning at 8 a.m., and we have been for the last at least 5 years. And our goal is to touch people in a special way, to give them enlightenment, to give them instruction, to give them motivation, to give them power, to be what they want to be, do what they want to do, and have anything they desire. I invite you to visit our website, herbertharris.com, www.herbertharris.com, and see some of the many courses and books we have available, and also to book a life consultation to help you figure out where your life is going and what you need to get where you want to go. I also invite you to check out our new book, Life Lessons for Your Success, which is very apropos right now because the 3 areas that this new book, this is volume 1, by the way, and it focuses on 3 areas that I think all of us need help in right now. How to overcome procrastination, self-doubt, and lack of focus. So it's on Amazon, Life Lessons for Your Success by Dr. Herbert Harris. So all right, let us get ready for our message today. Let us do our meditation. Let's sit straight up in our seats. Let's close our outer eyes. Open our inner eyes. Take a deep breath and hold it. Let it out slowly. Take a deep breath and hold it. Let it out slowly. And in this space of peace and relaxation, I am at peace with myself. Let us affirm that. I am at peace with myself. And in this state of peace and relaxation, my mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Let us affirm that together. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Let that sink in. Take a deep breath and let it out slowly. All right. This topic is one that has been developing for a while, this idea of higher powers. And I felt the need to bring it to the forefront again because we are living in some very interesting times. We're living in some times where there are incredible possibilities for good things. Okay. If we say it's a divisive world, it's a negative world, it's a world where there's not enough love, that may be accurate, but I like to say it's a world that has unlimited possibilities for loving and for doing things. But one of the things that I've been perceiving is the fact that things change. And in this state of change, in this state of flux where we have so much information, so many different vibrations going on at the same time, it is very, very important that we acknowledge and understand our own powers. that we have higher powers to teach us how to handle whatever goes on in the world so that we can be victorious, so that we can live the lives that we want to live. There are a couple of quotes that I love to open with, and one is from Kenny Loggins. Kenny Loggins, you know, the musician. He said something profound. He said, "My trust in a higher power that wants me to survive and have love in my life is what keeps me moving forward." My trust in a higher power that wants me to survive and have love in my life is what keeps me moving forward. Wow. So this higher power has been something, it's always there. We have to develop our awareness to the level where we can see that it's there and then understand how to work with it. Brian McGill, an author, said this: "Today, I call upon my higher power to deliver me from the impossible to the possible, from darkness to light, from fear to courage. Today, I call upon my higher power to deliver me from the impossible to the possible, from darkness to light, from fear to courage." And so this higher power is a tool for us to use to help us navigate the river of time. We all live on this incredible river of time. The moment we are born and experience this level of consciousness, we become a boat on the river of time. And how we navigate that boat is what determines whether we have a great, productive, enjoyable, abundant life, or whether we have a life of suffering and unhappiness. So when we look at where we are right now, we can see that times have changed. You know, there was a time when I was a young man, when I remember when I bought my first car, you could have a wrench and a screwdriver and a pair of pliers, and you could kind of open the hood and work on your own car. You could fix it. You could do stuff to it. But now, with today's automobiles, you open your hood and you go like, wow, where's everything? What is it? We now have to take our cars to the mechanic and let them connect it to this machine to determine what's wrong, this diagnostic machine. It's amazing. I remember there were mechanics. My favorite mechanic, Tony, he was a Mercedes specialist. Tony could literally hear your car and tell you what's wrong. He could listen to it, and he'd put his hand and he could feel the vibration of it and tell you what's wrong. Well, that's not so anymore. That we have to plug in now to these devices, these higher, we'll call it a higher power of connection to these cars to make them work. And so we don't know what's in that connection. We think back along as we look at something like a 12-step program, where people are moving their lives from something that they don't want to something that they want it to be. And a part of that process is to recognize that there's something bigger than they are. There's something that they are powerless in certain areas, and that there's something bigger than they are, and that when they align with whatever that thing is, they're able to go from where they are to where they want to be. So when I think about this idea, this higher power, then I say to myself, what are they? If they're higher powers, what are some of the basic powers? And I'm going to go over these because these are the powers that distinguish us from all the other orders of creation. Everything in the universe is created for a purpose. Everything has a consciousness. The rocks have consciousness. The animals have consciousness. Man, as they say, man is created in the nature and name of God, which means we have the ability to create our own world. Think about this. There's squirrels in my yard. The squirrels haven't built one condo. But they also don't hunt for sport. They don't fight for territory. they literally have a relationship with their instinct that keeps them in harmony with what they need to live. Man is the only one that we have to choose to do stuff. We have to use our mind, our skills to create the life we desire. In Unity, we call it, we co-create the life we experience. So what are some of the basic powers, those basic powers that man has, those unique powers that we have, that once we really acknowledge them, and you see, it's very important. All of this is about awareness. Everything that I'm talking about always existed, always has existed, always will exist. But we are able to move forward based on our awareness of these things. And not only our awareness, but our ability to take these things and utilize them in our lives. So there are 5 basic powers. That first basic power is the power to think. All of this is scripture-based, not just biblical, but basically in every religion, in every philosophy, the same principles keep coming up. The Bible says a mind shall have whatsoever it thinks in its heart. Buddha says you become what you think about most of the time. And so these 5 basic powers are powers that I want to enumerate them so that you can distinguish them and see how to work with them. The first one, the power to think. So you become what you think about most of the time. You become what you think about in your heart. An awesome power. So that says that you now have the ability to create your reality through your thoughts. Second power, the power to feel. When we look at that first law of success, a mind shall have whatsoever it thinks in its heart. It means that the manifestation process is one of thought and feeling. I was watching a TV program 2 days ago, and it was about a couple who had gone to an intimacy counselor. And what they had learned was that they had never developed the skill, the faculty of feeling, that whatever happened to them in their childhood, they had absolutely no ability to feel. They had no compassion for anybody else. They even had no compassion for themselves. They didn't know how to feel. And so they literally had to come to a psychologist, an intimacy expert, to teach them how to feel. So your power to feel is awesome because feeling gets the blessing. Feeling is the manifestation of the vibration of energy within you. So that is why when you feel great, everything is good. You radiate it. But when you feel badly, everything changes and you radiate that too. So the power to feel is your second basic power. The power to imagine. Now, this is profound. The imagination. Man has the ability, you and I have the ability to imagine a life that we would like to live, to imagine a life full of abundance, to imagine a life free of sickness, to imagine relationships that make us blossom and smile. So this idea of imagination is profound because it now says that through thought and feeling, we are able to project images into our consciousness that we've never experienced. That means that we can create a world for ourselves that we've never experienced. Wow. The fourth basic power is the power to choose. You see, man, this order of consciousness, we're the only ones that have to choose to do right or wrong. All the other animals operate on an instinctual basis, which means that they operate in accordance with their level of consciousness. So animals don't kill for sport. They don't wage war. If anything, they kill to eat, to survive. But man is different. So the choices we make determine the life that we experience. And then finally, the fifth basic power is the power to act. And I'm enumerating them because I want you to see that when you understand each power and how powerful it is and how much impact it can have on your life, you can now tweak it. This is like the wrench and the pliers that we use to tweak our engine. So these 5 basic powers, the power to think, the power to feel, the power to imagine, the power to choose, and the power to act. So now these are the basic powers. Where do we go from here? When we look at where we are in our life right now and many of the challenges, then let's call them many of the opportunities for greatness that exist, many opportunities to rise above a lot of stuff going on in the world, and there are many. How do we begin to put it all together now, taking these basic powers and moving now to the next level? Albert Einstein said, you can't solve a problem at the same level that created it. So this means that you have to appeal to another level of power to create the life you desire. Because whatever you're experiencing right now, and when I say you, I mean the collective you, me and everybody on here. Whatever we experience right now, it's a collective experience, but it's an experience that we participated in creating. So how do we now give ourselves the tools to manipulate our experience, to manipulate our consciousness, to manipulate those 5 basic powers to magnify our power to create better things? Well, it's to look at these higher powers. And when we say higher powers, you know, life is like a symphony in many instances. And when we are born, each one of us has a seat in the symphony of life. And when we come into that seat, the orchestra of life is always playing. When we come into that seat, we can come in harmony with it, literally sit in our chair and play our instrument, the instrument that is our lives, and that instrument will be in harmony with everything else, and the orchestra creates beautiful sounds. Or you can come into that orchestra out of focus, out of tune. And although the orchestra continues playing, you impact it because you're out of tune. You can say, oh, the horn section is flat. And so this orchestra is this all-knowing, all-powerful, all-existing energy, knowledge, potential that you can tap into. And the first aspect of that is now that you are part of this creation of the earth, you were created for a reason. When we look at the scriptural side, we were created to have dominion over the world. And we have, as they say, we were created in the name and nature of God, so we have the creative ability to create the world in accordance with our minds, our vibrations, our desires. So let us look. What are these powers? And I'm going to enumerate basically the 7 higher powers that can help you be more effective, that can help you create the life you desire, that can help you be, do, and have anything you seek. So the first power is the power of intuition. It's like we have a GPS inside of us. I'll call it the God positioning system. We call it the global positioning system, but the God positioning system, which is the universal consciousness that operates, has always operated, and will always operate. And this intuition is that feeling we have of what is true, what is right, what we should do. You know, the scripture says, be still and know that whenever there's chaos and stuff in our lives, if we can just stop for a moment, be still and know. Breathing puts you in rhythm with the orchestra of life. And we have all experienced it. When situations present themselves, it may be a person who comes into your life and you hear that inside voice saying, they're not the one. You should run. But inside there's a feeling, wow, I don't want to be alone. You know, there may even be a feeling I am not enough. So anybody who pays any attention to me, I'm with them. But there's always that feeling inside, that intuition to perceive and to communicate with the God mind. And so when you have that intuition, it gives you a sense of what you should do, what's right for you. And the challenge is to trust your intuition. Sometimes we'll let our hungers overpower our intuition. We may let our ego overpower our intuition, but our intuition always connects us to the God mind, and it's always speaking. When we be still and know, we can hear it. We can act accordingly, or we can ignore it. The second higher power is the power of discernment. And this power is based on your intuition. It now says that the moment you pay attention to your intuition, that small voice that speaks inside of you, that now the power of discernment says you have the ability to understand what it really means. So when your intuition says, don't get involved in this particular relationship, your power of discernment says, gives you some tools now to figure it out. You know, sometimes we'll meet a person who is they're shiny and sparkly and they say the right things, they look the right way, they seem to do the right things, and like, my goodness, this is it. But inside there's a voice saying, slow down. And the power of discernment now says that be not deceived by appearances, but be you clarified by truth. That's the scripture. Be not deceived by appearances, but be you clarified by truth. So the power of discernment gives you the ability to see the truth in any situation. Give you an example. It always says the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. When it says the fruit of an evil tree is evil fruit. And so now the power of discernment says, if a person is a liar, don't believe anything they say. As a lawyer, whenever a person is caught in a lie, the instruction we give to the jury is, now that you've caught them in this one lie, disregard everything they say. And so that power of discernment now gives you the ability to understand the intuitive feeling you're getting about a person or a situation, and gives you the tools to act on it. The third power is the power of right judgment. And this is really the power of decision, the power of choice. You get a feeling through your intuition. Discernment says, look at it, and this is really what it is. Right judgment now says, act on it. Choose a particular course of action, and that course of action will create a result. Now, the nature of that action and the nature of the consciousness in which you take the action determines the result. But right judgment says you can do it. The interesting thing about that, there's a scriptural principle that says, judge not that you be not judged, judge right judgment. What it's really saying is that whatever decisions you make, they always have consequences. So when you make bad decisions, you get uncomfortable results. When you make good decisions, you get pleasing results. And so this power of right judgment is one that we really need to pay attention to, need to understand the intuition and the discernment that should go into every decision you make. Don't let your ego drive you. Don't let your hunger drive you. Don't let your emotions drive you. Judgment is so powerful. Choice is so powerful that we have a choice. In life, everything we do, every thought we have is a seed. And so we can be a planter of flowers, good ideas, good thoughts, and good decisions that bring about good things. Or we can be a planter of weeds and sow chaos and division. Right judgment says, whatever you plant, you also reap. So that now gives you a guiding light now, a higher power. I may not understand all the variables, but I know this. If I lie, steal, and chill and steal, then I'm going to get the results thereof in my life. The fourth power, higher power, is the power of perfection. So you've made your right judgments now. You see how it all builds? Your intuitive nature has told you this is the truth of it. This is the vibration. Your discernment has said this is the truth of it. The right judgment has helped you make a decision to act on it. And this fourth higher power is your power of perfection that says, whatever decision you make, whatever action you take, act on it and do your best. To always do your best, no matter what. Dr. King said, if you're going to be a street sweeper, then you be the very best street sweeper the world has ever known. And when they walked down that street, they said, this street was swept by John, and John is the best street sweeper in the world. So this idea of the power of perfection now is whatever decision you make, stick with it. Give it your best shot. Go another round until you win. You know, one of the things about this microwave age in which we live, many of the young people seek results without preparation. It's almost like I can get rich by working hard or hitting the lottery. Which is more certain? Well, working hard, chances are, will give you better results. But this thought of this idea of preparation, you know, you look at something like the 4-minute mile. Back, I remember Roger Bannister when I was a child, and he ran the 4-minute mile, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, nobody!" They had all kinds of, reasons why a human being could not run a 4-minute mile, but he did it. Now, he didn't just dump out and do it like, oh, it's a Monday afternoon about 4 o'clock, let me take off to the track. No, he prepared for years and actually spent a whole year in preparation, preparing. And so this idea of perfection means that whatever you do, do it with all your might. Whatever you do, do it until you get the desired results. The fifth higher power is the power of forgiveness. Now, this is a very subtle power because the power of forgiveness is for you. You know, we often get it, as they say, get it twisted. I forgive you. No, you forgive yourself. See, this thought of forgiveness is for you. Anything that you hold on to. I've heard people say, I cannot release. I cannot forgive you for the hurt that you have caused. I cannot forgive you for the damage that you've done to me and my people and everybody. Well, if you can't forgive them, that means you stay locked in that position. You keep reliving the pain over and over and over. It's interesting, the very pain caused by somebody else, but through unforgiveness, you hold on to it. The power of forgiveness is like lifting the anchor. You know, you can have the greatest ship. You know, I was looking at the TV, they have these like mega ships now that have 5,000 people on, and I mean, just amazing ships, 12 decks. engines and all this stuff. But guess what? If the anchor is dropped in the harbor, that ship is going nowhere. And so unforgiveness is like an anchor holding you so that you just go in circles. That unforgiveness is a prison in which you lock yourself. Sometimes you have to forgive yourself for your own past performances. You can't fly until you have forgiven yourself for all the things that hold you down. What you didn't do, what somebody else did do. As long as you hold on to, as long as you experience unforgiveness, you stay literally locked in the past. It's like you live your life looking in the rearview mirror and feeling what was, instead of looking out the front windshield and seeing what can be. The sixth higher power is the power of prayer. Woo-wee! Let me tell you, this power of prayer is awesome because it helps you align now with the God mind, with the universal consciousness. In that symphony of life, it's like when you sit down and you ask to be seated and you're in tune, your instrument is playing properly. When we look at something like the Lord's Prayer, even, Our Father who art in heaven, acknowledging higher consciousness. You see, one of the key things about these higher powers that you have to acknowledge them. If you don't acknowledge them, then they don't exist for you. So you take away the tools you have to create the life you desire. Harriet Tubman said, she helped free over 300 slaves. She said, I could have freed a lot more if they knew they were slaves. And so many times, this idea of acknowledging that you have these powers is the first step towards using them. So the power of prayer gives you the ability now to seek alignment with the God mind, with the powerful mind. You know, that's the idea, seeking you shall find, knocking it shall be opened, asking it shall be answered. And so the power of prayer connects you with infinite intelligence, connects you with the God mind, so that now you are able to channel that into your activities, into your thoughts, into your feelings, into your vision, into your choices, into your actions now to create a life of abundance, a life of good health, a life of good things. And then finally, that seventh power, that seventh higher power is the power of expectation. When you pray with the expectation of results. The spiritual law says, seek and you shall find. So this power of expectation says now you have the ability to cast your vision, your desires, the energy of your vision, the energy of your desires onto the world with the expectation and the knowledge and the convinced feeling that it will manifest exactly the way you want it to. I love that course, the Course in Miracles. You know, there's that thing, expect a miracle. Yes. Because if you don't expect it, it will show up and you won't even notice it. There's an Arabian proverb and it says, he who has health has hope. He who has hope has everything. So hope is that thing that gives direction to your life. So no matter what's going on in your life right now, no matter what pig pens you may be existing in, no matter what bad situation you may be in, hope can get you out of there. You see, hope is coupled with faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. So whatever your present condition, if you can get a vision of what you want, you can get out of it. That's the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So this says, this power of expectation says, if you execute it, then although you may not see any evidence that you can heal yourself, that you can achieve yourself, that you can do the things you want to do, that if you hold fast, it's done. So today we've gone a few minutes over, but I wanted to share these powers with you. Let me just review so that you can focus on this. And if you go back and listen to this lesson, this is a breakthrough lesson that can give you some power tools to get results. So these 5 basic powers: the power to think, knowing that your thoughts manifest in your life; the power to feel, know that your feeling and your thoughts work together to create your reality; the power to imagine, that you can imagine things that never were and manifest them in your life; the power to choose, that's the bottom line on everything, to make right judgment about anything that you're encountering so that you can always take appropriate action; and then the power to act. And then to take these basic powers and use them consistently. Use them in that power of intuition so that you trust your feelings. The power of discernment so that you have confidence that you can see the truth in all situations. That power of right judgment, that you can take action, that you can make choices that will take you where you want to go and do the things you want to do and become the person you want to be. That power of perfection, that whatever your hand finds to do, you do it with all your might. You do your best in everything. That power of forgiveness, where you release the past, where you clear the deck, where you get rid of all the baggage that's holding you down. Past failures, negative emotions. That power of prayer, knowing that whatsoever you pray for will manifest in your life. And that power of expectation, that is a seed of manifestation. Whatever you expect is a seed that you plant into the consciousness of God. And based on that seed, it will manifest in accordance with His nature. So when we can use these basic powers to understand how to move, when we can use these higher powers to give us a methodology of how to judge and do the right things and how to put our desires and goals into action so that we can realize the life we desire to live, then truly you can be what you want to be, do what you want to do, and have anything you desire, always knowing that the best is yet to come. And so it is. Just take a deep breath for a moment. Let it out slowly. So it is. Thank you so much for being with us. Those on Instagram, thank you. Please share this broadcast with at least 3 other people and make comments. Those on YouTube, thank you for being with us, and share this broadcast with at least 3 other people, and be sure to subscribe to our channel. Those of you on our mastermind group here, just hold tight. Let me close out the live broadcast so that we can have our powerful discussion.